everybody. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Joe. Welcome to Joe and Andrew's Education Adventures.
And with us today is Marisa Billions, an English teacher on our campus. Marissa, thank you for taking time to join us today.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm excited.
And I know I gave it away a little bit, but why don't you go ahead and tell us your official role, titles, all the things you do for us at Paloma Valley High.
Well, I am an English teacher. I've been at Paloma for, I had to think about this for a minute, for 3 years out of my 4 years teaching.
Nice.
I used to teach English 92, which was more of a practical, fundamental skills English class. But I've done juniors all my years of teaching English, and I love them.
That's a good
Junior year is it's my favorite year to teach. I think at that point the kids are really dialed in, and they really know what they want to do, where they're wanting to go. I love the literature that we do for junior year. So
very cool. What do you like best about your English department?
My coworkers are phenomenal. Collaboration is so easy and so great. I mean, we have such talent in that department. And on top of it, I think we have a very good leadership structure with our department head. Our department head, Sean Jones, has been a really good mentor and friend through my teaching years with Paloma. Other coworkers in that department, Melinda McCulloch, she's been great to collaborate with, and she's been a great guide for me. Lisa Brown, Pete Provenzano, Amelia Brown. Basically, like, our whole D building is like just stacked and awesome, and I love it. And I know at any point I can go to any of them and say, what do you think, or what should I do? And they've got great advice for me. They've got great lessons. They've got great everything. They're just fantastic. I love my department. Walking around the campus with Dr. Tomasian and talking to her, I was like, this was the biggest blessing in disguise. And I have been like a super happy teacher since I've been at Paloma. Like,
cool.
I think I would have been happy if the academy stayed open, but I think I'm happier.
Right.
At Paloma.
Yeah. So you were mentioning the leadership structure style, and I know not all the departments we got our own way of doing things. So that made me think, like, well, what is great about it? How do you guys organize it, and why does it make it so great?
Sean has us set up, usually during PLC, during normal real world times. He always, leads PLC. He talks to us as a department, and then he lets us go into grade level teams. And each of our grade level teams basically, has kind of a self-appointed, you're in charge. And it's not necessarily always by who's most senior. It's by, who takes charge, and sometimes certain people have different strengths depending on what we have to talk about. And we just fit so well together. And I think a lot of it has to do maybe even with the size of our department.
Very cool. That sounds similar. Math's kind of the similar idea. We group by subject area and have our subgroups. And the last few years, it's been like a strong move towards like really working together, which is cool that the WASC team, by the way, just throw that out, that the WASC team kind of recognized our improvements over the last few years. That was cool to see in the report that just came out. So.
Yes, way to go, math and English, and a lot of pressure is on you guys often. So yeah, thank you. So Marissa, if you couldn't be an English teacher, like, what would your other career dream job be?
So I've had a lot of jobs coming up into this. This is like the end all be all for me. I thought about being a teacher back when I was in high school, but I wasn't a good high school student. And I tell my students this, I'm very honest about it. I was a bad student. So I joined the Navy. Did some time in the Navy, and I was like, okay, this is fun, but it's not for me. Got out and went to college because I realized you need to go to college and it's important. And I got my bachelor's in criminal justice management and sociology, and thought I was going to go to law school.
Okay.
That didn't work out for me. I was interning at a law firm at the same time, and I realized I didn't like it. I didn't like what they did. It was kind of boring. Not like Law and Order. And so my master's is in criminology and sociology.
Okay.
And during that time I worked for the VA hospital.
Wow.
I did social work. I was all over the board. And then I decided I was like burnt out with all of that. Went to massage school. I was a massage therapist for 6 years. I worked at Pachanga. I finally came home one night and I looked at my wife and I said, I'm just not happy. Like, I need to do something else with my life. And she said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be a teacher. And she was like, I'm on board with that. Whatever you need to do, you go do it, and I've got your back. And so when people ask me what else would I be doing. I think the only thing that would be even more awesome than being a teacher would be like being a food critic. Like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah, like I love teaching. Like, I think if that got taken away from me, I would not know what to do with myself. The very first day I stood as a student teacher in a classroom and taught, I was so like, this is it. Like,
Mm.
I was scared going in, but once I started going, I was like, this is everything. Like, I loved interacting with the kids. I loved the questions. I loved watching their little light bulbs come on, and to this day, it's still the biggest rush for me when I stand when I'm giving them something new and I'm teaching them a new skill and I see them understanding it and I see them getting it, or if we're reading a book and they love the book or they're enjoying the story and they're asking deeper questions about it and they're wanting to understand it.
Yeah.
There's no greater moment than that.
Well, and all that list you gave us, I think you've tried all the other things. So
yeah, what else is there?
You're like, this is the only thing left. So let's go. That's awesome, though. That's a great story and a great like path that's led you to this thing that now you just get love, and we're still young enough that you can do it for a long time. So that's really cool.
And obviously that passion, that background has led you to be able to do mock trial, and congrats on the big accomplishment for a couple of your students. Could you explain that more clearly to us, like what they exactly achieved and what they've been able to go on to do?
Well, we didn't place in the Elite Eight, so we're not going on to state this year, which we're very sad about, but the win that we got was just seeing the growth from last year to this year. Our students that get to act as attorneys in mock trial got crash course law school. 2 days a week they sat with the attorney, and the attorney sat with the witnesses too, and like explained to them why they need to answer certain ways or why they shouldn't say certain things, how to formulate the questions, how to understand CalCrim, and all of these very high level intellectual concepts. And I mean, we had some kids that just from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, you could see this improvement in their depth and their way of thinking and the way that they analyzed things.
How many like events did you guys get to do this year?
We competed 4 times.
Wow.
So how that works is our team is given a case packet in September, and we have a time limit up until competition to prepare. And you take this case packet and you get your team together. Your team is broken into 2 halves. You have prosecution and you have defense. So defense competes twice, prosecution competes twice. So our prosecution goes up against another school's defense, or our defense goes up against another school's prosecution. They go in front of an actual judge and argue the case, and the judge rules.
Okay.
And then they are scored by a panel of attorneys.
Wow.
That's cool. That's great.
Yeah, it is cool.
That's really a cool setup. It sounds really awesome.
It is a great setup.
Joe and I are going to try and do a little bit of a reenactment, or at least play this out, and then you get to, I guess, give us a verdict and also maybe score us a little bit like these attorneys. So
Okay.
for our audience, I wasn't totally, Joe is attacking me. I'm innocent.
It's not an attack. I am on the offense.
Okay. Well, I'm on the defense for sure.
I am prosecuting this claim I have against you.
Okay. Well, let's get into our roles there, Joe. I'm going to get my tie on.
Come on, I don't want to be. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go. All right. She's no longer Marissa. She's Your Honor, Joe. You got to remember.
Okay. All right. Your Honor, I'm here today to accuse Andrew Paulson and his dog of pooping on my lawn.
I did not poop on your lawn. Oh.
Okay, we're counselor.
You
have time for opening arguments.
Oh yes, sir. Ma'am. Sorry, Your Honor.
So, as anyone who has a front yard knows, you work hard to keep it maintained and under control and looking beautiful for the neighborhood. And I put a lot of time and care into mine. And yet, almost every morning when I go out, a dog has deposited poop on my lawn, and I have to clean it up. And it's affecting some parts of my lawn now. And it's obviously affecting my livelihood because it's disgusting. And my hands smell terrible, even though I wear gloves. And what I'm going to show today is that it's not only just a dog. It is the dog that belongs to Mr. Andrew Paulson, and that he has been negligent and not kept his dog in a way that would keep it from coming over to my yard and pooping.
Okay, Mr. Paulson.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. I do not know where this poop in Mr. Elliot's yard is coming from. He does have a nice yard. I'll give him that. And I see him out there regularly in sometimes odd, outfits doing his yard work. But I do not know of any time that my dog has come over to his yard and made a said deposit. I know Mr. Elliott tends to be low tech and he has no video surveillance around his yard or any photographic evidence, I believe, of my dog. He may have photographic evidence of the deposit, but linking my dog to the deposit, I doubt he has any evidence of, because my dog is well behaved and stays in my yard. And when we go on walks, I carry a bag and make sure that I clean up after my dog as a good citizen does. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Let's go ahead and hear the arguments. Mr. Ellett.
For the sake of everyone that is watching this today, I will not present the photographical evidence of the deposits. But I would like to share with you the evidence there is, Mr. Paulson, let me ask you this question. Is your dog not a beautiful, fluffy, white dog?
I'm sorry, are we calling him as a witness?
I'm not on the stand yet.
Are you calling him as a witness?
May I call Mr. Paulson as a witness?
You may. Mr. Paulson.
Yes.
Can you please raise your right hand?
Yes, here we go.
You solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you are about to give abides by the Paloma Valley Code of Conduct?
I do. I solemnly swear.
Thank you. Mr. Paulson.
Yes, sir.
Do you not own a beautiful, fluffy white dog?
I do own a beautiful, fluffy white dog. Her name is
Okay.
Marissa.
As far as you know, does your dog have regular bowel movements?
As far as I know, yes, she does.
Okay. So you have a beautiful white dog that you know poops.
Yes.
We've established that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what I would like to show you is in these photographs again that I'm not going to show because the evidence is just not something pretty. How would you explain the white fur that is always next to surrounding this poop?
I don't know how that would happen because honestly, and this is the truth, my dog does not shed. As fluffy as she is, she doesn't really shed. My mom, who's allergic, my son, who has had allergies, doesn't react to her the same way. So, I don't know where that white fur is coming from on your said deposit.
So let me ask a question here, Mr. Ellett. Is
Yes.
the only white dog that gets walked through your neighborhood Mr. Paulson's?
No, there are other white dogs. Absolutely. So I'd also like to just make known that his gait is broken. Although he said he walks his dog and it's always well behaved, often I see his dog roaming the neighborhood, sniffing around my lawn, other lawns.
Do you have further questions for your witness, or do you have any other witnesses you'd like to call?
I would call his dog, but I don't think she would give good answers.
No, I don't think she
So
would.
I have no further evidence nor further questions at this time, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Paulson, would you like to deliver your case?
Well, I would like to, if I had photographic evidence of deposits, but following my opponent's lead, I do not wish to discuss the court. But my dog is very particular and goes in the same spot every day, and that's why this one particular part of my backyard is as damaged as it is, and I don't repair it because she has a certain special spot she likes to go. So that's why even when the once in a while she may get out and roam the neighborhood, she doesn't go just anywhere. She's a particular dog.
All right, Mr. Ellett, do you have a dog of your own?
I do have a dog of my own.
Okay. What color is your dog?
They're sort of like creamish color.
So kind of a white.
Yeah, but not fluffy white fur.
Okay.
They're short-haired dogs.
Okay. All right. I'm going to rule Mr. Ellett, you have not proved beyond a reasonable doubt that it was Mr. Paulson's dog pooping on your lawn.
I know.
So I am going to rule in favor of the defendant, Mr. Paulson, in this case. Unfortunately, the argument you gave was not very compelling, nor did you offer us any compelling evidence whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. So, Mr. Paulson, I'm sorry that your time has been so wasted today by prosecution.
You know, I know not many people show up to these mock trial competitions, but the video that you showed me, I didn't watch the 2-hour logs. I apologize, but still, it's pretty cool to see how into it the kids get, and that's pretty sweet to see that.
It is fun. It's awesome to see them get into it, and I can guarantee you that several of my kids are gonna go on to law careers. Like they're passionate. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have free legal advice for the rest of my life
now. What is something you're watching, reading, listening to that's been inspiring or just entertaining that you would give a recommendation to the rest of us for?
Well, I'm a horrible television watcher because I only watch TV when I'm getting ready to go to bed, and so I fall asleep. So I don't. I mentioned earlier I'm old, so I go to bed early. I do love to read. The English teacher,
right?
And I've read, actually this year, I've read quite a few really good books. I've discovered an author from my hometown, just outside of Detroit, Jeffrey Eugenides, and I read his book, Middlesex, over the summer, and I am currently reading his book, The Virgin Suicides, which is excellent reading. And then Lauren Groff is a new writer I just discovered as well, and she was referred to me by one of my wife's clients. So,
and obviously you come across so motivated and excited for your students, and it sounds like you've been able to still see light bulbs like you talked about earlier, despite being distanced. But what is your motivation for this school year, for 2021?
What keeps me going is the interactions that I do have. When you wrap up the class period and you're like, okay, any questions, stick around and talk, and the kids that do stick around and they want to ask those questions and have that discussion and they want to delve deeper into some of the content, or like even in office hours right now, my juniors are doing the Crucible, and I was just getting ready to log off and go get my lunch, and two of my 7th period students like popped in and they're like, we're debating something about the play. And I'm like,
oh, bless your heart. You're like, oh.
I'm like, lunch tonight. Like, let's talk. Okay, what do you need? And they were asking these questions and they were wanting to understand and wanting to know. And I was just like, and they had like this 25-minute long conversation with me about Act 1, and they're like, but wait, did Abigail actually have an affair? And I'm like, yeah, like wanted to know, they got, the gist of what was going on, and I loved it. And, like that was one of those moments that you like absolutely live for. And, my wife works from home right now too. And, she was in the office with me at the same time and, across the desk. And, she actually stopped what she was doing and sat and like listened to the whole interaction. And she was like, that was cool. And I was like, I know, right? Like,
yeah. That's one cool thing about teaching from home, right? Is like our spouses can hear what we do some days. Like that's been pretty cool for my wife too, to hear her. She'll sit here, like she's not here right now, but a lot of times she'll just be off camera and she'll like listen and like hear like a little bit of like, life help stuff we get to do or explain a lesson. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's cool. It's great. Yeah, it's really cool for them to get to see that, since that's kind of like before this year, that'd be like a mystery, right?
Right.
We don't really know what we do.
Right.
If they weren't teachers, and so that's a fun little bonus.
I think my sons have gotten the opposite effect. They're like, you like say the same thing multiple times all day, Dad. Like, I don't know. That sounds kind of boring. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us today. And Marissa, thank you for sharing your passion, your excitement, and all that's going on with mock trial in your classes. And I hope you still get to see some more light bulbs before the end of this semester. And so thank you for making time for us. So on this crazy adventure,
let's keep learning.
All right. And you don't have any pictures of Mr. Paulson's dog making the deposit?
Honestly, If I'm being honest right now, I'm looking up for false evidence on YouTube. I can show you a white dog pooping.
Your Honor, may I interject?
Look, I have a perfect. Hold on, wait. Just hold on. I know you're gonna have to edit this, but I just found a perfect image. It's not a video. Don't worry. It's worth it. Your Honor, this is what I would like to have. But unfortunately, take the red line off of there, and that is what is happening. It's evidence of Mr. Paulson's dog eating it on my lawn.
But that doesn't look like a fluffy white dog.
No.
My dog does not have ears like that. Thank you very much.
All right.
That's a perfect representation of your dog.
Order in the court. And
Your Honor, to be honest, I'm surprised you even let this come to trial. Ridiculous. Honestly, it's on you. You should have thrown it out right away.
Right. How does Judge Judy do this all day, every day?
I know, exactly.
Right? Oh my God. Sorry, Mr. Paulson. Mr. Paulson, by the way, Andrew's got a beautiful dog.
Yes. That's okay.
Just wonderful dog.
That was funny. So.
Well, I failed at my law career.
That's okay. That's why we're. Yeah, right.
I'll accuse you of that, editing these videos to make your stuff look good and for me to look like a fool.
Right.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, I've got a list of 5 pieces of evidence right now.
Oh man.
Down.
Dang, I am in deep doo-doo.
No pun intended.
All right. Okay.